Welcome back to a brand new episode of Charm City Beat, and we are reporting from the comforts of our own home, social distancing 100%. Today we're going to talk about the Ravens 2020 draft. The draft is just a couple of days away, and it's going to be a lot different. It's going to be a very different draft this year, and we're going to talk about it. So let's get into it. So Jordan, we got a lot of picks before the 5th alone. Like, this is insane.
8 picks in the top 5 rounds out of the 9 total they have. They should cash in big time with this draft if they do it well.
Yeah, this is going to be a very profitable draft. I mean, you have the first round pick at number 28, and we're not afraid to trade them around and try to move up. So anything can happen. But we got 2 second-round picks. We got the second-round pick for Hayden Hurst. Then you have 2 third-round picks, a compensation pick at 106. We got 2 fourth picks, and of course we got the 5th round pick for the kicker Vedvik, which is by far probably the most hilarious trade in NFL history.
Absolute larceny.
Like, we robbed them, but you know what? Whatever. I mean, it's just exciting, and there's a lot of prospects on the draft. I mean, we're a team that needs, more youth, at least on the defensive side specifically, but we're also looking for another good receiver to complement Hollywood Brown. So let's talk about who we got on the block. Who are we looking at, man?
I think the biggest need for this team going into this draft is linebacker, the middle, inside, and outside linebacker positions, and like you said, the wide receiver position. But big time, the interior offensive line, because Yanda just retired. James Hurst was cut after, getting suspended. And then Curl at center, he got hurt way late in that year last season, and he's got to recover still. So they've got 3 big question marks right there that they got to fill a void, and they got to figure out how to do it left, right, and center guard.
Yeah, and then, of course, we talked about receivers. Receivers are going to be important because if Lamar Jackson doesn't have anybody to throw to, what are we going to do? Steph Roberts is gone. We still have Willie Snead. Obviously, Hollywood Brown. We have Mark Andrews. We got rid of Hayden Hurst, which was a weapon, but, we could probably find a tight end in the draft somewhere.
They've also got Nick Boyle. I mean,
we have Nick Boyle. Don't count him out.
He wasn't used as much. I think they will address that. Maybe with that 7th-round pick they've got, bring in a tight end that can, just fill in the depth chart. Catch the 2 or 3 balls a game that Hayden Hurst was getting, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm actually interested to see, on another subject, interested to see how Hayden Hurst does in Atlanta. Matt Ryan, that's it. I mean, Hayden Hurst, obviously, he was good for our team. He obviously wasn't the dynamic tight end that we thought he was going to be drafting in the first round. Mark Andrews definitely stepped up. But, I mean, me personally, when Mark Andrews had those issues with catching the ball, Hayden Hurst was there.
I think Hayden Hurst, I think he was the player we thought he was. He just got outshined because of the injury early in his career, and he never had a chance to get that spotlight back because of the repertoire that sort of Lamar sort of established with Mark Andrews. But you saw the Bills game. He caught that touchdown pass and ran down the field. He was faster than the quarterbacks. And that's what Hayden Hurst brings, and unfortunately we just didn't have a chance to get him on the field as much as we liked. Because he doesn't block as well as Boyle, so in a running offense, it doesn't make much sense to keep him when you can get 2 for him.
That's true. I mean, like I said, we got a good 2nd-round pick for him. So, I mean, we got our money's worth. I think it was a good return. I mean, let's be honest here. That first round, we got Lamar Jackson out of that. So, I mean, we'll say that was our first-round pick, and we'll just keep it moving. But let's talk about the challenges of a virtual draft before, we really get into the picks, because I do want to – actually, you know what? Let's talk about the players we're looking at, and then we'll get into the dynamics of this team. So, I mean, obviously, you and me, we were looking at 4 players specifically. Zach Bond, Brandon Ayuk from Arizona, a wide receiver. There's Patrick Queen from LSU, who I was looking at, obviously watching the national championship playoffs. That dude was a beast. So if he came to Baltimore, I'd be super happy. And then there's Kenneth Murray from Oklahoma, who, I mean, hey, Oklahoma boys teaming up again possibly.
Yeah, I think there's a bunch of guys. I think Patrick Queen and Ken Murray are 2 linebackers that the Ravens really, really, really want. That are they might be willing to trade up to get those guys just because of how difference they can make in the game. And obviously Brandon Ayuk, it's an opportunity to get a big body receiver here for Lamar Jackson to throw to. I do have high hopes for Boykin, but
I was about to say
pick alongside Hollywood.
Yeah,
be awesome. We'll see
yeah.
if he's there.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm saying we'll see what happens. We'll draft him.
And if you're following any Ravens coverage, everybody's talking about Boykin. Like, what does the draft mean for Boykin? And again, Boykin's a big body receiver. He now will have another offseason under his belt. It is possible that this could create competition, and maybe even encourage him to get better. So, I mean, this will probably work out for him if they do pick up a big receiver because he's going to have to keep his spot. And you can never have too many receivers. I mean, I guess most teams usually carry about 4 to 5. So, I mean, he's still within that bubble, and eventually maybe down the road he may get edged out, Boykin, that is. But, I mean, who knows? We've seen crazier things happen where players just get motivated.
And it's wide receiver is probably the hardest, other than maybe cornerback, to adapt to the NFL because you're going up against the best elite corners in the NFL after playing against, for the most part, mediocre to subpar corners unless you came up against a guy like a number one corner when you played in Alabama or something. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're not seeing them, so you're not quite sure. He went to Notre Dame, so he played in some big games, and he was a monster in the red zone last year. He had some big catches against the Jets. He had a touchdown against the Dolphins. He had a touchdown. So I think as long as he gets more comfortable, I think he had a nice catch against the Seahawks. He was big, but he didn't drop passes like Bernard Perriman. As far as wide receivers go, drafted by the Ravens, I'm encouraged by what I've seen from Boykin.
Yeah. Speaking of Brandon Ayuk, though, Arizona State guy, so he's Pac-12, I believe. That's the Pac-12 out there. So, as a BYU fan, we've played them a few times, being an independent and just proximity. So yeah, you know what you're gonna get with this guy. If he can adjust to those bigger corners and definitely guys with more speed on the field, then hey, we may have struck gold here. That is if we get him, because again, anything can happen in the draft. We're at the 28th pick in the first round. Now, again, we have all these picks between 1 and 5 that we can move around. So
the fact that they have that other 2 allows them to probably move up relatively high in the first because they can just give up their first round pick and the 55 overall pick and get like number 17 overall and get a guy like Ayuk or get a Patrick Queen off the board, ahead of a team like the Steelers that might be. No, they actually don't have a first round pick, but a team that needs a linebacker, they can jump them. And it's just interesting to see how they do it because they haven't had an off season like any off season before to prepare for the draft. I mean, they haven't had scouts being able to go out and look at guys personally, interview them, the pro days. None of it existed this year because of the coronavirus. So and you're not going to have, spring. You're not going to have the mini camps to get these guys ready. So they may be more apt to take a linebacker whose job is just to follow the ball than maybe to get a Brandon Ayuk, who may not even be impactful for another year easy because he's just not going to get a hold of that playbook until training camp even.
I mean, if we're talking like that, where we're saying, a lot of skill players really do depend a lot on those camps, a lot of those spring training camps.
Sure.
Patrick Queen is who I'm going for. You know what he can do at LSU. You know what he does in big games. They just won a national championship. And playing in the SEC is like playing for the minor leagues of the NFL. So the boy can play. So I would say go for him. We lost after Ray Lewis. Obviously, we had tried to fill that inside linebacker role, and just hasn't worked out yet. But who knows? This could be our guy. I don't know.
CJ Mosley, man.
CJ Mosley was the guy, but then he got traded.
And you saw the impact of not having a guy like Ray Lewis in the middle of that lineup. Last year, they had to go out and get guys off the streets after getting railroaded by the Browns, and then you saw they had no answer for the Tennessee Titans last year in the playoffs. They got ran the hell over. And I think that, more than anything, is going to prompt them to go out and get the linebacker. And the fact that let's be honest, it's a window. They have 3 or 4 years to win with Lamar Jackson under a rookie contract because when you've got to pay him and Mark Andrews and all these other guys, Hollywood Brown, one of them's not getting paid. One of them's probably getting traded. You got to pay Lamar Jackson. And that's going to be $100 million. And all of a sudden, you're in the same deal they have as Flacco. So I'm interested if they do with Lamar Jackson also in 4 or 5 years. They want to do it again. They did it with Flacco, or just say, you know what, cut our losses and see let's start over again because we don't want to go through that graveyard again. But
yeah,
you got to win now, and I think getting linebacker is more important, honestly, than a receiver. No, you
don't put it out there. I don't think our offense, obviously, that playoff game was pretty terrible. I mean, I think everybody across the board, the Ravens did not play Ravens football, but Henry would have been stopped if we had proper linebackers.
Yeah.
If we had gotten a rush. And with Calais Campbell, they added to that rush,
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and then Derek Wolfe, too, for that matter. Big-bodied boys that can just get after the ball to put their hands in the dirt.
Yeah, I mean, so let's get some good linebackers. I mean, I feel like our secondary for once isn't exactly the issue. I'm not terribly worried about the secondary. I am a little bit, but I'm more worried about that front seven. And if we can build that in the draft, by all means, I think that divisional playoff game might have gone a little bit different.
I think, to your point, safety is a little bit of concern. You obviously you let Tony Jefferson walk. You're confident in his replacement. Earl Thomas isn't getting any younger, but they probably had the best cornerbacks in the NFL. And then you've got Tavon Young coming back from injury, probably the highest paid slot corner in football. It allows you with Jimmy Smith pulled back on the outside, allows you to Humphrey on the outside, and just really suck on with Peterson, rather, and have three really quality. They can all cover a number one receiver, and you can just do it interchangeably. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. It is unbelievable, and so I think that's why they're really going to focus on that front seven, especially the inside linebacker spot. I don't think that position is bleeding. I hate.
Yeah, I know it's not sexy to take an interior lineman, but at 28, I don't have any big names off the top of my head that they might be interested in, but I can see them taking a big guy. Maybe in the second or third round, maybe trying to strike goal like they did with Yonda a few years ago, more than a few years ago. He's retired, but a guy that from a good program they can just put in there and just let him play. I know they got Ben Howard, but I think they're going to really focus on that too because you've got to protect Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, you have to. And especially as we know now, he is on the cover of Madden, so superstitious is
It may not matter who's blocking; he might just be getting hurt regardless.
Oh my God! Of course, the superstitious side of me is like, you gotta be kidding me! This is not real. And then of course, the Madden fan.
It's an honor. It's so well deserved.
It is well deserved. He deserves it. I mean, I'm excited.
I'll probably buy the Madden poster or something for my basement bar.
I'm definitely getting it. I will pre-order that, no question. But one thing that is for certain, this draft is going to be unlike any other draft we've ever seen in NFL history. So being that you worked very closely with the media, it is really windy. I don't know if you can hear that.
I hear it a little bit now, but it kind of calmed down again. We're good.
Yeah, it's very windy here. I'm outside on my front porch for some reason. I don't know why. But that being said, you've worked in the media for many, many years, and you've been in that, war room, as they say, for a few years now. Of course, you missed our draft party last year, but obviously for good reason. Let's run down this virtual draft. Let's run down exactly what's going on because a lot of people don't know.
I think you're not going to see the guys. They're not going to be together to make this draft happen. So they're going to be in separate houses. So they're not going to be in the war room as you were. They're not going to be all sitting around a table, bouncing ideas off each other in real time, watching the draft together. They're going to be probably doing a Zoom thing like we're doing right now with everybody talking at the same time. But there's going to be a little bit of miscommunication there, I think. And it's going to put a lot of pressure on the scouts to really be effective this year, really be on their game with what they were doing all last year, because we haven't had a chance to go back and interview these guys and go to their pro days and all of that stuff. So they got to it's going to be very interesting. And on draft night, they're going to have to really go with their gut feeling and stuff. They're not going to be able to do a lot of their normal stuff they normally would do.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine, I remember I saw a meme, actually, and it was like Joe Burrow's getting a FaceTime call from the Bengals and just skipping the call. It's like, you're literally –
yeah, and that's what's going to happen.
It's going to happen. Hopefully people's cell phones are charged up because that's how it's going to happen. Who knows? I mean, I imagine there's – huh?
Oh, you go. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, I imagine they have some way where they probably sent maybe 32 hats to the top prospects, so that way it's determined who will get it. And they can
I think the NFL has something planned for the top picks, but I mean, kind of like last year, some of those guys just aren't. And Hollywood was not at the draft last year, type of thing. So those guys are going to be home anyway, with the phone next to them watching it, but they're not going to be watching it with a big family, I don't think, because of the social distancing. But it's going to be interesting. The media is going to have to do their conference calls like they did with the Lamar Jackson interview today on Ravens.com, which is just literally like a mediator in between the two on Zoom somehow. Like it's really interesting. And we're not going to be able to meet those players till at least probably July or August if it even happens, like training camp, which is nuts to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine there are going to be probably quite a few things like this, between coaches and the new players. I'd imagine that's how they're all going to meet. But you're not going to really get to know a guy that way. You're not going to, team's not going to be able to gel the way they usually do. It's going to be, I will say the 2020 football season is probably going to be by far the most interesting football season ever. Just with all the variables going into it.
There's no rookie ball. I mean, there's a good week where the rookies just come together ahead of minicamp.
Yeah, the rookie camp. That's what I meant earlier.
So they're not even going to get a chance to meet the coaches until August, July. I mean, they're going to have a phone call. So say they draft the linebacker, they'll talk to the linebacking coach on the phone. They'll probably text them every single day. Mm-hmm. But you can't learn unless you're getting reps against guys like, Matt Judon every day. If you don't have that, you don't even know what an NFL player looks like. So it's really, really intriguing. And they can't go back to 2-a-days. That's what I would recommend.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think that rule should probably be lifted. Just like allow 2-a-days this year. That way they can get the extra work. I mean, the hope is that these players are also at home working out. Because, we're not talking like just regular guys with regular homes. We're talking about millionaires, at least the veterans. Not so much these rookies, but the veterans, I'm hoping they're still working out. I'm hoping that they at least come back in shape. But the rookies, I don't know. Are they going to have the opportunity to work out as much?
I guess not. And you don't have that trainer or training staff that's working with you, the dietitians that work with you. Mm-hmm. If you have any type of like bump or bruise or pull or something, you don't know what it is. Are you likely to go to the trainer immediately? You're just going to try to walk it off. It's a very interesting dynamic. I've never seen it before ever, obviously. Yeah. And it's going to be interesting to see how it affects the season. Guys will rehab. How's that going?
Yeah, I don't know how much they've been able to meet with doctors, that being said. Most doctors are now doing like the telecommuting, similar to this. They have something in place, but you're not getting the hands-on, physical trainer. That's not happening.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm interested to see how the NFL does it. They haven't really they've kept it very close to the vest. We know it won't be in Vegas this year where the Raiders are playing. It's gonna be virtual, obviously. They're $1 billion industry. I'm sure they got something up their sleeve somehow to make it entertaining. But it's going to be a lot of talking heads on ESPN. What it's going to be.
Yeah, that is it's going to be very interesting. Obviously, we're going to be covering it. We have the draft plan in place, at least. Something obviously similar to this.
We're ready. I don't know what the NFL. Yeah, we're ready.
We're ready. Us small-time YouTubers, we're ready out here. But so I'd imagine they have something more solidified than we do. But that being said, though, we are going to stay on top of this. We're going to keep covering this. Finally something to talk about sports-wise, I guess you could say. But sorry.
No. I think it's interesting that we could get Joe Burrow in the AFC North with Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson have 3 of the last 5 Heisman winners in the AFC North quarterback. I don't think it's ever happened before in the same division like that.
I can't remember any time it's ever happened. We have probably one of the most dynamic divisions in the NFL still. Who knows what the Steelers are going to do? That's going to be something we'll probably be talking about, trying to guess what they're going to figure out because they're bleeding for a quarterback. I don't think Ben Roethlisberger is the answer. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to go on record. I don't see him coming back and being the Ben that we know. I'm sorry.
No, if you're pondering retirement for the last 2 years and your name's not Tom Brady, and even Tom Brady isn't what he used to be. And so, I think the Patriots are happy to get rid of him, probably happy to get rid of Gronk. They're starting over
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, it's intriguing. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the number first-round pick this year, they always had a really good cornerback from the Miami Dolphins for him, so it's as if they spent that first on a corner. But it is intriguing to see what they do. They're probably in a rebuilding mode, too, knowing it's going to be tough to catch the Ravens this year. The Ravens are well-built.
Yeah, I still think at the top of the AFC it's going to be not the Patriots. Ooh, we're so used to saying that. It's definitely going to be the Ravens and the Chiefs. I think it's going to come down to those two. It seems like the Ravens in the playoffs, they just get better every year. At least they get to a further position every year. So hopefully they will win the division and go to the championship.
Yeah, I don't know if the bye hurt them or not last year or not, but there's only one team getting a bye this year, so that's going to be a fun shoot too.
Yeah, I mean, you and me, we've had episodes about this. Personally, I think the bye and then sitting the players the week before might have definitely hurt them, but that is neither here nor there, and I need to start letting that go. So yeah, that being said, that does it for our episode today. We're going to be staying on top of this. We're going to be covering all the Ravens off season as it happens. We now have more time than ever to do it. So stay tuned for more. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And hey, tune in Thursday. We're going to be covering the draft picks, the top picks, and of course, obviously, the Ravens picks all weekend. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Take care.